Hey y'all, I hope y'all are having a great day so far. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, my name is Katee. So today's video is going to be my January wrap up. I read, what was it? Let me count real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, yeah, 15 books. 15 books. Was it? My God, 15 books. Okay, I don't want to tell you the stats, but I will tell you because some of them I'm not going to give you my star rating because they're going to be in a video coming up hopefully this week. We'll see. I had DNF'd only one of these books. That one's going to be at the end because it was my very last book that I read of the month. I just gotta tell y'all, it is a doozy. That one is a doozy. And I hope that maybe whenever I get this, like, get to it, like, y'all understand where I'm coming from. Because it makes sense to me why I don't like it. But, like, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. I did put a poll out on my community part of this, which shows up like in your regular feed, if I should do this or not. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, if you follow me on all socials and if you've watched all of my videos this month, this can be a little bit repetitive. I'm gonna brush past things that I've already talked about on my channel, but like my Instagram reviews, I will talk a little bit more in depth about them because there's some of y'all that don't follow me on Instagram. So everyone who does follow me on all socials and watches all my videos, thank you so much. I'm sorry if this is repetitive, but thank you for doing that. I have a lot of fun on Instagram. I really try to focus mainly on books, but sometimes I show a little bit about my life too. So, and then plus, you know, any sort of like book related thought that goes in my head, I put it on my Instagram because I want to know. And I do a lot of polls because I want to know, because I need to know I'm not crazy. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoy this video and let's get to it. Okay, so the first two, I'm gonna brush past a little bit because I had talked about them in another video. I did a full video where Heather from Hia Booktubes and I picked each other's books. I will put that video down. I don't know how to put things right here. I gotta figure that out. Or it's gonna be down. I just lost my bracelet. Son of a gun. That's what you get for buying cheapy jewelry. Okay, the video is either gonna be, I'm done with this bracelet. It literally just did this again. Ah! It's so cute though. It's got like Roman numerals. But anyway, I'm gonna put the video that these two books are gonna be talked about in down below or right here. Depends. First one is Little Love by Layla Frost. I've talked about this before, so I'll just do like a brief thing. It's an age gap romance, a little bit of a captive, and there's some daddy kink in there. I talk a little bit more about like what daddy kink is if you're not aware in that video. So there's that one, and I gave that one 4 stars, maybe like 4.5 stars. I love the beginning. I felt like it lost steam a little bit, but then the ending was good. I really liked it. The daddy kink did not bother me. It was one of my first daddy kink books I've ever read. It will never be my most favorite trope, but it will be something I can enjoy from time to time. So yes, first book, Little Dove by Layla Frost. Okay, second book I read of the month is, well, it's not the second, I'll get to my second one later on. But the second book I read of the month is Resurrection by Siobhan. I don't know, I'm gonna look at how to say her name because I've reviewed a few more of her books and they're pretty decent. If you remember correctly, this is one of my authors I was like about to not give a try ever again. Good thing I did because this one is good. And then So is another book that I just read that I'll talk about in a few videos from now. I also reviewed it on my Instagram. So there's that. Resurrection. So I've talked about this book before. It's the same video with Little Dove. But basically what it's about, it's a reverse harem and there's 4 guys and then there's Harlow. So basically there are 2 gangs within this city and Harlow was dating a guy from the opposing gang. She needed some sort of protection, nothing like 2D, but protection from the guys from this other gang, the Sainthood, I think that's what it is. And there are 4 guys, and so she ended up, you know, they gave her protection, but they're like, hey, you gotta give me something in return. So she has a 5-some with them, kind of a 5-some, 1 watches. But it's very good. If you can get past that reverse harem sort of multiple sexual, I don't know what that would be called. But if you can get past that, if that's not something you're comfortable with, then read it. I liked it. I've never been like super interested in like, what is it? Where people, there's a lot of different people having sex at once. I've never really been super interested in that in books, but I really did like it in this book. There's something about it. I think I did end up giving it a 5-star. It's probably more like a 4.8, 4.9 because there were times I was just like losing it. Yeah, I really like that. I've read the first few chapters of her next book because it does end on a cliffhanger, but I ended up having to put it down. I didn't really have time to read it at that moment, but I will pick it back up. I really did like it. The main character is very strong. She's sex positive. I love that about her. And one thing I do like about this, that even though it is reverse harem, there is one guy that she gravitates to more, but that doesn't mean she's not going to have any sort of relations with the other guys. So it's good. Okay, the next books that I read was actually a collection called A Kiss For You. So this collection, I also reviewed on my Instagram. So this collection had 3 full-size books and a duet. So the first book, well actually let me just get into the books I already talked about. I literally just talked about them in my last video with TM Frazier, are King and Tyrant. So if you remember correctly from my last video, King is about this girl who basically loses her memory and doesn't know where she's at. She's homeless. So she goes to this party in hopes that she's gonna be a motorcycle guy's old lady, but then she runs into King, or Brittiany, which is his real name, and he kind of takes her a little bit captive, but it's more of a darker sort of moment. But yeah, it is very good. I really like that book. That one's a 4-star, and then Tyrant is the second one, and there is a really huge cliffhanger with this one. So I had to pick up Tyrant right away, and that was a 5-star. I really liked the way everything ended. I liked it. I love the way Tyrant went. The reason why I didn't give King 5 stars is because there is cheating in there, or the illusion of cheating, and I hated that. Like, that was not for me. I hated that. I do not like cheating in a novel. I forgot to put that in my tropes I hate. I do not like cheating. I think that that's, bleh. It's no need. Like, this is not real life, y'all. This is a fantasy. In my fantasy, I don't want to be cheated on. But anyway, those books are very good. 4-star for King, 5-star for Tyrant by TM Frazier. So then, also within that same collection of books is Bad Penny. So Bad Penny is by Staci Hart. I ended up giving this book 4 stars. I don't really even know how to describe it because I don't really read a lot of books like it. I would say like a romantic comedy. So I really did end up liking this book. For me, the reason why I gave it 4 stars was because, I don't know, it just wasn't like a lot going on. And if you know like the type of books I read where there's always something sort of like thematic, sort of, what is it, thrilling, sort of something going on, not just like a love story. That was my only thing. It just felt like a little bit like, what's going on besides the relationship? You know what I'm saying? So I really did like it. Reasons why I did like it is Penny is a really cool character in my opinion. She's a tattoo artist, so she has bunches of tattoos. She kind of has like a, I don't know what you would call it, like a pinup style. I don't really know like what you would call it, but she's got a really cool look. Piercings everywhere, which is interesting. I've never read a book with a girl with so many piercings. I'm for it. She is a very cool character. She's a very strong character. The premise is that Penny does not date men for more than 3 dates because she doesn't want to fall in love again because her heart was broken, and so she's just a serial dater. And I love that that was more of a positive thing in this book instead of like a negative thing, because I hate like slut shaming and I hate all of that. Bugs me so bad, so I like that. Well, then she meets Bodhi, which, hello, that is such a great name. That's gonna definitely be on one of my names for my next baby if I am able to have another baby. Bodhi, I really liked it. It was kind of a cool name. Then she meets Bodhi and they end up having a connection from the past, and it's really sweet. Another thing I loved about this book was the steamy scenes were hot. What is it? Like, why do some authors, the steamy scenes are a little bit lacking, but the other authors you're like I cannot believe. It's just so good. It is a part of a series, but the first part of the series you don't really need to read. The first book in the series you don't need to read. There's a little bit of that couple, but it's really not a big deal. But yeah, I really did like Bad Penny. If you are interested in books that are like more of a romantic comedy, more of a, you know, the relationship is the plot, that's definitely something that you would like. So the next one I read, which was still part of A Kiss For You, is The Dark Ones by Rachel Van Dyken. I love Rachel Van Dyken, but this is my first kind of paranormal. She does some paranormal, but then she's also done a few historicals. The Dark Ones is a paranormal romance by her. I gave that 4 stars. It's kind of a complicated plot, but basically there are immortals with all different types, werewolves, vampires, Nephilim, all that type of thing. The main character is a mortal. They've been taught to believe that they're going to be called up. A few people are called up, or one person's called up every so often, and their job is going to be to teach the immortal children about the mortal world, meaning like, you know, computers, things of that sort. Like, they don't know what that is. Well, the real reason why they're brought down there is to mate with immortals, because immortals cannot mate together. So it's very good. She clearly attaches to one guy at first, and he does it more to save her. It's a little bit of a fated mates. I don't know if you would call it that, but it's very good. I really liked it. It's a whole series. I really would be interested in reading the next book. It's just not really on my TBR at the moment, but I really did like it. I gave it 4 stars. A reason why it wasn't 5 stars was because it was something I could just like put down. You know, I was kind of like, okay, I'm ready for this to be over with. But I really did like the plot. I lose, what is the word? I can't even think. I get distracted really easily. I have ADHD, so if something's not keeping me up, then I gotta move on. Okay, last one in the A Kiss For You collection is The Wright Brother by K.A. Linde. So this book is about a girl, her name is Emery, and she meets her ex-boyfriend's brother at a wedding. He's all enamored with her, and she's kind of like, stay away because I dated your brother and your brother broke my heart. So she's actually come to her hometown of Lubbock? I think it's Lubbock, which is in Texas. And, I think it's Lubbock. Fort Worth? I don't know. She's actually come back to her hometown for a wedding, and also because she's going to UT to get her PhD, and her boyfriend ends up cheating on her. He's her advisor. She comes back, she goes to this wedding, she meets Jensen, and she's like, ooh, stay away from me, but he is obsessed with her. It's their relationship. It's another one where the relationship is the plot. I just kind of got bored with it. Honestly, it's a 3-star read for me. I kind of got bored with it. The reason why I liked it is probably not why other people like it. I loved it because I'm from Texas, and so there was a lot of like Texan sort of things there for me, and I really just enjoyed that. I love books with Texas in it because why not? Being in Texas, living in Texas, being a Texan is a cult. Firmly believe, gotta let you know. I always say like I would like to leave Texas and go live somewhere else. I've always felt that way, but my family's here, my husband's here, all that stuff, and he does not want to move. But every time I leave Texas, I'm like, oh, it'd be fun, let's go. But then every time I get there, I'm like, oh, but where's like Whataburger? And like, why isn't everybody like super nice? And why are people not saying y'all, you know? And so it's just a cult. Like, I wish I wasn't like this, but it's a cult. It's a cult, being from Texas. If you know, you know. But yes, that's the reason why I liked it. I didn't think it was like mind-blowing special, but I really did like it. The next one, this is actually the second book I read of the month, and it was Permanent Record by Ed Snowden. It is his autobiography. I'm gonna give it 3 stars, and I'm gonna tell you why. The whole reason why I wanted to read it is because I wanted the goods, I wanted the juice, I wanted the tea about him giving all the information up about like American intelligence and like how people were abusing the Patriot Act. Like, I wanted all of that. I wanted all of that and get that. The problem with me for the book that kind of just drug on for me was it was a lot of his backstory. I would say like 75% of the way through was just his backstory. And I'm not gonna lie to you, a lot of it went over my head because it talked about like computers and computer programming and hacking and things like that. That was the main thing, is there's a hack. There's a hack for everything. So it started out, he was hacking school, meaning he looked at the syllabus and he's like, oh, I only have to do this certain amount of work in order for me to pass. There you go. It's just all about different hacks. Some of it went way over my head because it was just all about computer programming, how to get into computer programming. It just wasn't for me specifically. I could see other people enjoying it. I just really wanted the goods about, you know, why he decided to basically tell and commit treason. But it's cool because now we all know what the government will go through in order to get information, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, 3 stars for me. Wasn't a fave. I wanted to like it. I really did. Okay. The next 2, I'm not going to get in too big a detail about my thoughts because they're going to be featured in another video. But Desperate Measures by Katee Robert. I love Katee Robert. She's one of my new authors I just really freaking enjoy. She has a TikTok, which I didn't know. Desperate Measures is a modern retelling of Jasmine, of Aladdin, but with Jasmine and Jafar, and Aladdin's the bad guy. So she has a bunch of the same series. I don't remember what it's actually called, but each book is like the villain. You know what I mean? It's about the villains. But it's very good. Daddy Kink Again and Consensual Non-Consent. I have learned I'm a big fan of consensual non-consent in books. If you don't know what that means, consensual non-consent is basically where they pretend that she is not giving consent for the act, but there's a safe word. I really like this book. It's very interesting. It's kind of short. I think it was only like 250 pages, but I really liked it. Daddy kink, age gap, villain gets the girl. Good. So the next one is also going to be an age gap, and it's torn by, what is her name? Carian Cole. I'm not gonna give my thoughts on this. It's gonna be in another video. But Torn is a age gap romance. It's about Torn or Torrance. Tor. That's his name. Tor and what is her name? Gosh. Anyway, I forgot her name. That is his best friend's daughter is who he falls for. And she falls for her dad's best friend. He's basically raised her. They're only, I think it's 15 years apart. The mother and the father had their daughter whenever they were 15 and 16, I think. But yeah, it's a dad's best friend, age gap sort of thing. But I think it's done more in like a sweet way versus some that's like, it's the kink, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'll give you my thoughts on that later. But I did like it. I did like it a lot. Okay. The next book I read was The Devil in the Deep Blue Sea by Amelia Wilde. Okay, I really like this book. It's another kind of shorty book. I don't know if you'd call it a novella. I'm not sure. I think it was like 250 pages. Something around that. It's really, really good. It's like not like a modern retelling. I don't know what you would necessarily consider it, but it's about Poseidon. And she has different parts of the series, which I need to like read, because there's like Hades and Persephone, of course, and then there's Zeus and his love story. So basically it's about Ashley and Poseidon. So Ashley is out doing her little vacay moment on a yacht, and then these pirates come on and they kill her boyfriend, and she has to jump off the ship in order to save herself, and she's picked up by Poseidon, who is also a pirate, but he's like a good guy. There's also consensual non-consent in this book. I gave it a 4.8 only because there's a part at the very end of the book I did not vibe with it. I did not vibe with it at all. If you read this book, you know I did not vibe with it because it just was going a little bit too far for me. But yeah, it's good. There's 3 books. I think it's gonna be 3 books. The second one's coming out soon. I did receive it as an ARC, so hopefully I can get the second one as an ARC as well. Yeah, I really, really, really liked it. Yeah, it was good. Poseidon was pretty hot. And the steamy scenes were, I'll give like a 5 out of 5 on that steamy scene. The next 2 I've also talked about before, so I'm gonna give them a little brief moment. I will link that video down below too. It is a reading vlog that Crystal from Crystal's Bookish Life and I picked each other's books. So we know, if you've watched that, I read Dear Ava by Ilsa Madden Mills, and then I read Eleanor Gray. I didn't write down her name. Oh, Brittiany Cherry, duh. Why not? Dear Ava, 5-star, epic, top tier, obsessed. All of these things is how I feel about Dear Ava. I recommend it to anybody who doesn't have a trigger of sexual assault. It was so good. The last chapter of that book will just keep me thinking about it for a good long while. It was my first like true 5-star obsessed book of the month. It wasn't my last, but it was my very first true obsessed 5-star. I loved it so much. It is gonna be a kind of a bully romance. It has one of my favorite tropes where he secretly loves her. Yo, I loved it. Okay, so I went in this book not thinking there was gonna be a good amount of steam. And I'm not gonna say this is not like a Katie Robert. This is not like a steam. But I felt like the steam versus the angst versus the love versus the story just all worked for me. Ugh, it was just so good. So it's Ava and Knox, and it's so good. I need to tell you Knox because later on when I talk about another book, oh my god, this video is gonna be so long. Okay, next, Eleanor Gray. We know that I gave this 4 stars. So Eleanor Gray is a second chance romance, nanny romance, billionaire romance, a lot of different things. There's 2 parts. Part 1 is whenever they meet and they're in high school. Part 2, she's the nanny. Part 1, top tier, so good. Part 2 left me a little bit wanting more. I think it lost a little bit of steam a little bit, but I really did end up enjoying the whole book as a whole. I liked it. If you want my full thoughts, I will link the video down below. Okay, the next one, I've reviewed this on my Instagram, and it is called Hate Me by A.Jade or A.Jade. Okay, can somebody fill me in? Because I know sometimes she goes by A.Jade, sometimes she goes by A.Jade. I know some authors, whenever they do more of a like erotic type book, they'll go by a different name than whenever they do like a romantic comedy. Somebody give me that. Somebody tell me what that means because I'm confused. But anyway, Ashley Jade, she did the Royal Hearts Academy series with Cruel Prince. Can't remember the rest of the books, but this is her new bully romance. It just came out a few weeks ago. I loved it. 5 stars, so good. Now I will tell you, this is top tier toxic man. So if you want like a nice bully romance, if you think Bully by Penelope Douglas is problematic and Jared is a little bit of a toxic boy, do not pick this up, because this boy, who's also named Knox, so it kind of like messed with my head a little bit because I just read about this Knox who was like super sweet, and then now I got this Knox. This book, toxic men to the tip, but I just loved how unapologetic it was. So basically, Aspen, her father passes away, and her mother immediately marries another guy who is his best friend's brother. So there's a bit of a forbidden moment that I won't spoil, but there's a forbidden moment between Aspen and another character. So whenever they all move into her new stepdad's house, Knox is also her stepbrother, and he's got a lot of trauma, a lot of issues, the reason why he is the way he is. But the steamy scenes are good. I don't know, it was hot. Like, I really like this book a lot. As if you're like, oh, let me just try a bully romance. Don't pick this one up. This is for the seasoned bully romance reader who's like, is not afraid of anything whenever it comes to bullying. But yes, I loved it. I thought that it was so good. I posted on my Instagram and Ashley Jade actually responded back, which I still geek out over that stuff. I know some people probably done BookTube and Bookstagram for longer. They're like, oh cool, like an author, you know, message me. I geek out over it hard. Like, I love it when authors message me because it makes me feel like, oh my God, you see me. Yes. Okay, so my last book actually was my DNF. This one's hard for me to describe. What's even worse is it was an arc. Anybody who gets arcs a lot, tell me about the protocol for this, because I don't want to review this anymore, because I don't think they want to know my review. I just don't. I'm going to try to describe this in the best way possible, but I don't even really know how to describe it in the best way. So please, like, if I say anything that doesn't, like, not the right wording for stuff like this, let me know, but I'm going to try to do it in the best way possible. So The Contender is it's a small town romance where the main character's love interest, he is actually a fighter. He's done with fighting. His mentor just died, so he goes down to this small town that he rode his motorcycle to one time, and he wants to move in there. He opens his own gym, and the female main character is a police officer. Okay, the reasons why I had issues with this is because I think her name is Tiffani Lynn, the author. I feel like she was trying to do like different representations within this book, but it failed hard. In my opinion, other people may read this, and maybe I'm being too sensitive, but other people may read this, be like, oh, I didn't see an issue. But for me, I would say it wasn't like problematic. I would just say it icked me out. Like, the way everything was handled just icked me out. It's like, I get you where you're trying. I think she had the best intentions, but for me, it felt clunky. It felt, I don't know, overworked. It just icked me out. Okay, so the first thing is her brother is a person with a disability. He has Down syndrome, and his character is written well. He's a very sweet guy, but the R slur is used in reference to him, not the main character or anything like that. Basically, the quote is, oh, I'd like to sleep with her, but her R slur brother something something. And I get that that wasn't something that she was saying referring to him as that, but to me, it wasn't necessary. I don't want to see that word in books at all. I don't like that word, and I don't want to see it in books. And so anytime I read it and that word's in there, I automatically just go, ugh, like cringe, hate it. Okay, the next one is, this one, it's probably stupid, but it bothered me. So the main character has got red hair, and so I swear it's told like 5 times, redheaded temper. Like, I don't like that stereotype that redheads are crazy. I just think it's not necessary. Like, redheaded temper, like dumb blonde, you know what I mean? I hate that. Like, that's just another way of making a woman, defining her by her appearance, and, you know, saying, well, you look like this, so you must act like that. Like, I hate that. It just bothered me a lot. And I have had red hair, but I think it's stupid. I just don't like it. Last one, this is the one that I have a really hard time describing. because it bothered me, but I don't know if it bothered other people. So there is a non-binary person in this book, which I think that you meant well. Like, we need to see more non-binary people in books. Like, we need to. That needs to be more normalized. I think the way that she did it was not the right way, and all honesty. She went into great detail about what a non-binary person was, why this person was non-binary, how they were. I just didn't like it. I think that, I don't know how to describe it. I did not like the way it was written. Very stereotypes. I don't know. An example. So they're in a small town, right? The love interest, he's like, oh, you know, meets the person, and he says, oh, well, where are you from? And that person's like, oh, I'm from here. And the main character's like, really? Like, was all weird, like, I can't believe you're from here. And then that person was like, oh, actually I live in LA. And he's like, oh, that makes sense. And it's like, okay, so only non-binary people can be in metropolises and, you know, I guess acceptable cities. I don't know. It just was weird. Stuff like that, it was just not done well. Another thing, oh, I forgot to say this part. I just didn't like that. Another thing, there was like a troublesome group of teens that she's dealing with because she's a cop, right? And they just cause trouble. So how they were described were from the wrong side of the track, which I hated that because I felt like you're stereotyping people. First of all, the wrong side of the track, I hate that, because what are you trying to say? Are you trying to say low socioeconomic class? Like, are you trying to say impoverished neighborhood? Like, what are you trying to say? And then also that stereotype that those types of classes are more, I don't know, more apt to cause trouble. I don't like that stereotype. Another thing they said, oh, these are the type of kids who don't do sports. I don't know. It was just weird to me. I felt uncomfortable. Like, at the end of the day, reading this book made me uncomfortable. I put it down because I felt uncomfortable. I did not like the way, it was just unnecessary. Like, say the kids are crazy. Why do they have to be from the other side of the tracks? Why do they have to not have money? And that means they're like bad kids. That was not necessary to describe them like that. Describe them in any other way, but like, no. I don't know. Maybe I'm not making sense, but it makes sense to me. But if it doesn't make sense to you, I apologize. I'm trying to explain it the best way I can. Basically, I did not like that book. I put it down. I give it 1 star. And anybody who gets arcs a lot, can you please comment down below and tell me what I should do? Because I don't want to review this book. I don't want to. I don't want to get taken off this PR like list, so that they won't give me any more arcs, but I also don't think they want to know my thoughts. And I think that might get me taken off the list. I don't know, but then also I feel like I have a duty to the reader. And maybe Tiffani Lynn is not aware. I definitely feel like she needed a sensitivity reader in this book. It was obvious to me that it was not from the right lens, the perspectives. That's basically what I'm saying. But anyway, that is my January wrap up. Sorry it's a long video. Sorry if that whole last thing did not make any sense. Basically, I hated that book. I hope y'all have a great day. What was your favorite book that you read in January? Did you read any of the books that I read? Did anything I said just a minute ago make any kind of sense? Let me know down below, okay? I hope y'all have a great day, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.